Good afternoon there, shopkeepers and do-it-yourselfers. Today we're working on a 2000 Chevy 3500. It's got the big 7.5 liter, is it? The 454, 7.4 liter, 454, and it won't crank over. And we got a couple of neat little symptoms here that I want to make a video about. I've got a starter button attached to the starter, and we're underneath, obviously. And these are two little braided ground straps that go from the frame to the body. And I reached in over the frame and grabbed the wire here to see if maybe it was loose. And I felt that I brushed up against that braided ground strap there, and it was quite warm. So I knew exactly what was going on. But anyway, I'm going to push my starter button here while we're underneath. And I want you to watch those little braided cables when I push the starter button. See how they jump? It's having the ground, the load of the ground is going through those straps to the engine. So I know immediately that I've got a bad ground. And it's cranking like the battery is dead. Well, with the bad ground, you get a big volt drop, so you're losing voltage going to the starter. But if we was to take and set our voltmeter on resistance, I can take and test our starter motor to ground, and it would show 0. But that's not what I want to do. I want to look at our voltage will touch our battery positive cable on the starter, and I'm not going to be able to. I'm going to touch the battery cable with my red lead, and my ground I'm just going to put right here on the starter bolt, and that'll be a good connection to the ground cable at the battery. Let's see what it reads. Yeah, it read 12.1 volts, and I tested the battery voltage at the battery posts, on the post, not on the terminals, but on the post. So I know I was getting live battery voltage reading, and it was 12.3. So I'm getting 0.2 volts drop down here. So that's not necessarily bad. But when I would push this starter button and hold it and get a volt reading, that's when that reading is going to go way down. And let me see if I can get my camera set up so you can watch it as I do that. Okay, we got it set up. I'm not going to be able to see it, but you guys can watch it, and you can tell me. We got the red lead on the battery cable of the starter, and the ground lug we just got touching on the starter bolt. Well, I can see it at the corner of my eye. Yeah, see, it dropped to like 5 volts. So we got a 7 volt drop. That's a big power drop. So we know that we got to look at the ground cable, and the ground hooks onto the front of the engine down here, right there, to the right side of the block. And I've already grabbed a hold of that. It is a little bit warm. So let's go up to the top and take a volt drop reading up there. And we're up here at the battery. And I've got that one kind of wedged on the post. And I'm not necessarily touching the post. It kind of is, but it's mostly on the terminal. But here I'm touching the post, and we're at 12.3 volts. And if I touch the terminal, not the post, but the terminal, we're at 12.3. So we're not losing anything from the post to the terminal. But if I touch the cable, we lose a half a volt, or 0.4 volts. We'll just round it up to 0.5. That's a half a volt. But if I take them and let me put my phone down. Yeah, I think it's got it going. That'll probably be okay. We'll turn the meter so you can see it. I'm gonna wedge this back on there because I kind of need some free hand here. So I'm on the post, but I'm going to touch the cable back here where I was. So there we're at 11.9. I'm going to hold it. Now we're losing the light. 11.9 and kind of dropping, but I'm going to push the starter button. It goes to 3 volts. So our volt drop is right here at this cable. These crappy cables, they're good, or that's not a cable, a terminal end. They're good for if you're in a pinch, but they're open to contaminants. And see, this is a tin. This plate right there is tin, and it might be coated. I kind of doubt it, but you see it's rusty, and the cable end is kind of nasty. It is tight. I mean, I give it that. It's tight, but it's losing voltage right there. So I'm going to take this off, clean this up, and redo the volt test. Now I've just taken those 2 bolts out, those 2 1/4-inch bolts. This is the top side that we were looking at, and the bottom side of it, it's pretty well corroded, and that's not a very good. And then you can see the condition of the cable as it went inside underneath that plate or strap. Then we take the cable off. Now let's get a light. Now you can see the corrosion that was laying in there. Get the light right. There you go. So that's 100% of our problem. We've got a little bit that I can pull up there, and we're going to clean that up. And best thing to do would be to replace this cable, because this is going to be a little bit short, but we're going to have to do what we got to do. Then just clipping off the end piece, and then stripping back the wire a little bit. You can see we got good cable. We're going to put this one down, and I wire brushed this already. We're going to put the small one down there on the bottom, and bring that one up and put it on like that. And I'm going to do the right thing and see how that's kind of bowed. I cleaned that side. That daggone it. I'm going to do the right thing. You see how it's high there in the middle. I'm going to put it on like that, so it's low here, and the bolts pull it down even tighter. Okay, got it back on there. And with these, especially with your load cable, you don't want that to be frayed out. You want all of the wire to be attached in here. You don't want 8 or 10 of them out here on the side, kind of like hair sticking out from underneath the hat. You want it all up underneath that strap, so the whole cable is carrying load. This is your body ground. If you have an issue with, say, your windshield wipers not working or something like that, maybe your headlights are dim, you want to check this cable and make sure that it's secure to the body and it's not corroded, and as well as those braided cables down there underneath by the starter. Those will also help contribute to that. But this is your main one. And anyway, we'll grab the starter key and make sure we're not in the belt down there. That sounds a whole lot better. Let's see what the voltage is. Okay. I think you can see it. So I'm going to touch the back of the cable only. I'm not going to touch the strap or the terminal end. And make sure I got my arm out of the way. So we're at 12.15, which is a lot better than it was. And we're at 12.15 on the post. So we're same. We don't have that drop that we had without the load applied. I'm going to crank it. It dropped to 10.5 and went back up to, I think it was 11.6 while it was cranking. 11.2 while it was cranking. So we'll take and go in there and turn the key on. And I'm going to leave that down there. I'll crank it over with the key so it'll start. I didn't see my camera fell. Well, 14.14 volts with it running. That's a good deal. Now this truck has got 2 batteries in it, but this battery is not for the engine. This battery is strictly for the accessories that were on the bed. And it's a side post, and come on. I mean, really? Those things are between the terminal and the battery. That's a damn volt drop. But I'm going to tell them about it. I'm going to leave it like it is. And we're back over here. Cover that up. Battery terminal protector. This helps reduce corrosion on your posts. And we'll go ahead and do the right thing and shake it up a little bit. And give that a good coating. This helps keep oxidation off of there and reduces the risk of that buildup again. But these kind of terminal ends, they need constant care. Make sure they're tight, that the cable is staying tight in there, and that it's not getting corrosion buildup. And if it is, you need to address it, or you're going to get caught somewhere. Anyways, fellas, something like that, if you put a test light on there, say, well, I got 12 volts, it's lighting up, I got voltage, it must be the starter. No. And if you test your battery voltage at the terminal, say, well, I got 12 volts, it must be the starter. You put a starter on it and it still don't start. Why is that? Well, like I say, check at the cable, not at the post or at the terminal, because you got one connection, two connections. You need to check at the cable, or I could have put the post here, my positive lead here, and my ground lead I could have just dug into the case of the alternator without the starter being applied. I would have gotten battery voltage minus the half a volt drop we had here, but when I would crank it, it would show that we were getting only 6 volts. We were dropping 6 or 7 volts from right here. So you need to check your voltages at your ground and at your positive with the load applied, because with no load applied and just a bad connection, you might have voltage, but as soon as you try to put that load on there, high amperage, that resistance, which is a bad connection, will rob all of the voltage, and it'll drop way down like it did on my reading. I think it went down to 6 volts. I don't remember now, but I got CRS. You know, can't remember stuff. Anyway, guys, appreciate you watching. Share, like, and subscribe. Comment if you will. Have a good day.